Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at our favorite video of each and every weekday this regular season, the player props video here in the NBA on a little 4-game slate on Tuesday night here, Nate. We are going to jump into that here in just a minute. Want to make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us. Check out our other couple game videos we have up for you tonight and each and every weekday, as well as these props videos. Also head to thelines.com. That's where we have all of our great written content for you guys that you can check out what we're talking about all NBA season long, and have our odds finder tool where you can go ahead and make sure that you are shopping those lines and player props to the best of your ability. Nate, let's go ahead and jump into your first play prop for tonight.
Yeah, it's up just in the nick of time here as we record at around 11 a.m. Eastern time. Was waiting on DeMar, DeRozan, kind of projected 26.5 points for the prop, and it's 25.5. It's actually 24.5 at DraftKings with negative 125 odds there, but I would go ahead and take the better juice for 25 points. I think you can look at FanDuel, those awesome player performance doubles, 25 plus in a win at plus 225. Might as well do that rather than the even money line here for the Bulls. They're almost certainly going to get a nice game from DeMar, and 30 points in a win is plus 430. But you look at the recent results against the Nets, and the last game they played was that rare Kyrie, wow, I keep twisting on my tongue there. Kyrie, KD, and James Harden game. I think they played like 9 games together all last year, and they blew out the Bulls. But then prior to that, 2 close games, 2 Bulls wins. DeMar, 29 points, 32% usage rate. DeMar, 28 points, 32% usage rate. And that includes, Zach LaVine going off for 31 with a high usage rate in one of those. That also includes a runaway win, actually, for the Bulls in the fourth quarter. So they didn't even need DeMar to keep scoring. And he was the third best scorer in clutch time by points per game, the most efficient scorer in clutch time last season, and the MVP of our player prop show. So, and you also look at what he did on the road last season, a higher usage rate, 32%, again, that number, and 50% from the floor, averaging 27.5. This season, he's averaging 34 in 3 road games. But the usage rate is, again, what we come back to, 32%. You love that consistency. You love a guy who can just get his shot in the mid-range whenever he wants. And he's facing the worst defense in the league on a back-to-back. I mean, what else? What is there not to like about player props MVP here?
100%. You're never going to hear me say a bad word about that man, and I will always support picking him. I mean, look, we're still by December, January, probably January of last season, we were already seeing DeMar props at like 30.5 when he was scoring 30 a game, like 100 times in a row last year or whatever he did. So especially against this just porous defense, man, I'm happy to take his prop tonight against the Nets. Maybe we'll have a little bit better luck than Mr. Halliburton, who wasn't really able to get it fully going last night, despite picking the game correctly. So let's move on to another game here that it's a little bit tough to pick. It's the Warriors in Miami. I do lean Miami, but I super lean Jimmy Butler. 30.5 points and rebounds is nice. That's minus 110 at FanDuel. If you want to get the extra assists in there, it's another 5. So it's 35.5 PRA for pretty much similar odds there for Jimmy. He plays well against this team, against the Dubs. The last 6 he's played against them, about 21 a game, 7.5 boards, 6.5 assists, an individual offensive rating about 126. And that's exactly what he did last week, despite the fact that Steph just kind of took over once the end of the third quarter came around, and it became the Steph show. Then it wasn't really much that Miami could do. There's few teams in the NBA that have a sort of response when Steph goes lights out like he did in that game. But still, he had Jimmy did 27, 6, and 8 assists on 8 of 13 shooting. And they're back home. He plays much better at home. 23 points a game are his splits so far, with a 25% usage rate at home, slightly lower usage rate and only 19 points a game when he's on the road. You look at last year, similarly, 22 points, 6 boards, 6 assists. He would continue that usage rate about 27%. It's obvious that like when they get on the road, and a lot of those role players and shooters that are on this team that are not playing at home, not that there's a huge raucous crowd in Miami all the time, but at any rate, they're still at home, where you expect your role players to play better. And that's where Jimmy's usage rate is sort of a little bit, more. But at this point, for him, it's just Warriors defense is just garbage, man. It's just I haven't seen anything from it to make me feel like they could really stop a nosebleed at this point, allowing, and really also just to shooting guards in general. You see Klay Thompson not really quite the same dude, not able to move quite as fast laterally. Opposing shooting guards are they're allowing the 5th most rebounds per game, the 4th most assists per game, and you got to expect Jimmy to get his points as well, with the Warriors' lack of defense pretty much on on every area of the floor, down low and outside.
Yeah, I expect him to completely fill up the stat sheet tonight, and that's why I'm actually intrigued by some of these other props. Rebounds and assists at just 11.5, and that's why it's minus 125 to the over. But I think you could hammer that with some confidence. I mean, Jimmy's a guy who's going to go 7 and 7 more times than not. He's like the new big game James. I mean, if a good team is coming into his house, like, he's going to bring it in all aspects. And steals and blocks, that's plus 140 for 3 steals and blocks. He had 6 steals in Golden State. I believe he had like 6 steals against the Blazers when they were undefeated, and he brought it there. So I would hammer both of those, as well as the overall PRA, which can be a little dicier because sometimes he doesn't necessarily look for his offense. He just looks to lead on both ends of the floor. I'm going under here with Anthony Edwards, under last night with Trae Young, hella under. Hopefully we can keep that rolling. And maybe it's because the Suns blow out the Wolves. I don't know, but I think even if he's out there, I'm looking under 26.5 points and assists for Edwards. I don't think he hasn't really taken a step forward as a playmaker. Like, that's the first criticism for sure. What he's averaging this year is about 3 assists per game. And they've played, like I said, the worst teams in the NBA almost. I mean, there's just certainly not any winning teams. And now he goes up against Mikal Bridges, who, since he gave him a 41 piece, and that was the only time the Wolves beat the Suns in 8 meetings, he's averaging 16.5 points. He's shooting 33% from the floor. You even include that 41 point per performance. He's averaging 22 points with his prop at 22.5. Shooting under 38%, and he's a minus 26 against the Suns. The Suns, they don't allow assists. They're the second best team, allowing under 20 per game to an entire team. So I don't expect Edwards, who plays off the ball next to D'Lo, to get much there. I mean, I guess what I'm harping on is maybe you want plus 104 on under 3.5 assists, because he is a guy that can get you 25, 2 and 2. Routinely, and that's why I actually talked Josh out of drafting him in fantasy, because that's pretty much what he's going to get you. He's not going to be around the box score monster, and so instead Josh is sitting with Jimmy Butler, Mr. 5 stat category, and he's rolling Mo's fantasy league, and that's the last time I swear we're going to mention Jay Boogie's fantasy team here.
I am not committed to that. You may not be, but I am not committing to not referencing my fantasy team moving forward. But you are correct that I did forego Ant for that exact reason. And I do love, as you were talking, I was like, so you just want us to take under his assists, right? Because that's what we're saying here. Like you said, he could randomly just go off, and he's one of those guys that doesn't matter once he starts feeling himself. If he's confident like that, whatever. I don't want to, bet on him to score less than 23 points necessarily, but I'll take the points plus assists. I'll really just take the assists if I'm getting plus money on that one. But I do agree that this is a game that's not tailored for him to be super successful. So not feeling too bad about unders of any kind for Mr. Edwards right now. I'm going to finish us off here with Lou Dort, a guy that I wish we had already been speaking about. He's having a really nice season so far, Nate. And, I love what the Thunder are doing for sure. I've been loving it. I think they're actually going to be trying to win this year, as they so far have, already beating the Clippers twice. But Dort is at 14.5 points, which is about what he's averaging on the season right now. But this Magic team that they're playing against tonight, this is a team that isn't suited to defend Lou Dort, who stands at 6'4", 6'5", and this team is starting like 5 7-footers, or at least 4 7-footers, or 4 dudes that are 6'10" plus, right?
4 dudes and Terrence Ross, who's not really a lights out defender. Yeah.
No, definitely not a lights out defender. Allowing the second highest assist to turnover ratio are the Magic, because they've got, there's nobody really suited to guard these guards. Allowing the 4th most 3-point attempts. Shooting guards are getting this, the second most assists per game against them, which is where Lou is playing. You can get 16.5 points and assists. It's just another 2 assists to get Lou there. I'm happy with the points, honestly, because I think, in his last 19 points a game, 5 boards, 2.5 2.5 assists or so. So it's really, for me with him, like I think it's when this team is cooking, it's the ball in Shea's hand and Lou Dort playing off of that and getting some really nice looks from three. He's got about a 25% usage rate in 34 minutes over the last 15, which is great because a lot of times last year you were worried that if you picked a Lou Dort prop, he was going to come out really early. Same thing with Shea. It does seem like they're trying to win this year a little bit more. But yeah, even, with those 34 minutes, basically his per 36 this season is well above, these props. And even in his career, it's the same. So I think as long as he's getting the minutes, which is what we always harp on with this team, picking any OKC Thunder player, are they getting the minutes? Pretty much we know Josh Giddey's getting the minutes. Is everybody else? If the answer is yes, then let's go ahead and take the over. And that's where we're at with Dort against a pretty bad Orlando team in terms of their defensive ability.
Yeah, that's the key, right? Is just like, is he active? I haven't seen too much of the Thunder, playing Dort and then like yanking him because he's playing too well. It's just that they pick up an injury usually in the second half of the season. And what we saw last year is, they might try the first half and then they'll just start, benching those guys and playing for draft picks here. But when he's out there, very productive last year, 19 points per 36 minutes. So if he's going to get that amount of time against a Magic team that, again, you have mismatches all over the floor because they just want to play their bigs, then he should roll. And his prop is just so much lower than SGA at 27.5 points. I mean, both those guys should have nice games, but I would much rather take Dort here.
I feel it. Yeah, I'm not scared of either prop, to be honest, even the 27.5, but it's a bit high for SGA and you get a little bit more value with Lou Dort. I'm just happy they're playing their guys, man. It's like it's time to start winning. You've got Chet Holmgren coming back next season. That's basically like a top draft pick. So why not start to see what you have in these guys? And I think that's what they're finally starting to do. And they're rolling a bit. So yeah, I'm happy with the Dort pick there too. But that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us as we bring you these game lines and these player props that we like to stay wicked hot with you guys on the rest of this week. And until we see you next, happy betting.